Hello, welcome to Tennessee Soccer Club and our tryout process for this year. My name is Jeff Lightman. I'm the older girls director, U15 to U19 girls, as well as our director of communications and digital media for Tennessee Soccer Club. We're very excited for you to join us this year for tryouts. Hopefully this video can give you some insight into our tryout process and how we progress through the process.
Yeah, a big part of Tennessee Soccer Club is our core values and our core mission. We call it developing excellence. And developing excellence really encompasses 5 pillars. Our first pillar is play, practice, and perform with joy. We really feel that players and coaches, if they're not experiencing joy, you can't achieve all that you want to achieve. And human beings, when they invest themselves and they're enjoying the process, when they're enjoying what they're doing, they really achieve at a much higher level, both on the field and off the field. Second, we want to learn every day. We want to push ourselves, our players, our coaches, our directors, to always grow and expand. We do that by learning every day and constantly growing as soccer players, as coaches, and as people. Third is respect everybody. We want to really create a culture of respect, from respecting teammates to respecting coaches, referees, other teams, other adults. We want to create that culture that we always have mutual respect for each other, not only in soccer but as a society. Fourth is commit to the process. So throughout our development, our player development pathway, we really have a whole process in place to measure and build the growth of each player. So this is all over a long period of time. It's not just a snapshot in time. So we really want to look at a player's development over a longer period of time. And that's really about committing to the process. So every day we're working hard. Every day we're adding to value to commit to that process and not just looking at one moment to determine our success and our failure. And lastly, one of our most important pillars at TSC is building the community. And building the community is really multifaceted. We can look at building the community within our own team. We view our team as a family, the TSC family. We view building the community as one club. We're all part of something special and something bigger than ourselves. And really build the community also means our outreach into the community, into the greater Nashville. One of the things that we really feel is we're very fortunate as coaches and as players, as athletes, is that we owe it to our community in general to give back. And that's where TSC Cares comes in. And as a club, we really make it a priority to give back to our community and build our entire community. So that really encompasses our developing excellence and our core values at TSC.
Tennessee Soccer Club has a lot of different avenues to help offset your costs, both team costs and club costs. If you go under our website, under the info tab and click on financial aid, you can find several of our programs, one being Dream Chasers, which is a program where you can work and it helps offset costs. We also have where our players and our families can work our events and tournaments to help defray some of the costs of their club fees and team fees. So we have numerous avenues to help defray the cost of TSC and playing soccer. In addition to those programs, those financial aid programs, TSC also provides financial aid for our families in need. We award over $100,000 worth of financial aid every single year, and to help defray the costs, both team costs and club costs. What you will do is during the registration process, when you accepted a team, you'll click the financial aid tab on Playmetrics, and you'll submit an application along with your financial documents. And that way we can assess what your family will need to help defray the costs for soccer for your daughter. So that is something that we at TSC try and do, is help drive the costs down as much as possible. We also assess every year which tournaments we should go to, what we should enter, what type of travel, to help minimize the cost, because we do recognize that there is a cost associated with soccer and youth soccer. So let's talk about the tryout process. So it starts next week on Monday night. We will have an optional open session for those who are new to TSC, who haven't played in our club, and we can get a little bit of a head start on assessing those players, whether they be from outside the area or a different club. And that way we can start the assessment process early, and by the day 1 and 2 of the regular tryout process, we can speed along the evaluation of those players and not start from scratch. That is optional, so no one needs to attend, but if you are new to the club, it's always beneficial to get that extra session in, and we can start that process earlier. So then Tuesday through Friday, we start our regular tryout dates. We have 4 different locations: TSC Murfreesboro, TSC Nashville, TSC Sumner, and TSC Williamson. In those locations, each location will have 2 days of tryouts. At the end of those days of tryouts in each location, all of our coaches will get together. They will start to talk and talk about players and start to prepare for team formation. So once all the tryouts are done, we will start the team formation process. So the way that works is our ECNL teams, we have many layers of teams. So our ECNL team and coach will start the selection process by selecting their team. Those emails will go out to those players. And then what we ask is for players to respond in a very timely manner. We kind of put a 12-hour deadline on it. It is not to pressure all of you into committing. What it really is we have so many different teams and so many different layers. What we need to do is keep that process moving. So every time one player, one family holds up the process, it holds up all the teams below that team. And that's just not fair to those players who are waiting and very stressed out because they haven't heard anything. So please be respectful of all the players on your team and below your team, so that we can move through this process quickly and with as little stress as possible, because it is a stressful environment with tryouts. So we do ask that, please. One thing that will help speed up the process is trying to, as a player, if you are expecting an invite for TSC, start to hash out with your parents, if I'm offered this team, will I accept? If I'm offered this team, will I accept or decline? And that way, once you are given your invite, you have an idea of what you want to say, and it'll speed up the process. If the first time that you are thinking about whether you would accept or not is after you get the acceptance, that really slows down the process. And again, out of respect for those other players, I think it's really important to have that in your mind of what you would like to do. Again, to keep the process moving and being respectful of others. So please have an idea of what you would like to do before you get the letter invite. So the season. So with the older girls, we have 2 different seasons. We have the fall and we have the spring. So the way it works is if you're U16 and above, U16 to U19, pretty much you're going to be off in high school during the fall season. So you won't be doing many TSC activities unless your team is in a regional league, Mid-South, and has games to prepare for, in which case you may or may not do some limited training during the fall. But for the most part, you'll be in your high school season in the fall season. And then once high school starts to wrap up, both varsity and JV, in the middle to end of October, you'll come back to TSC and we'll start up 2 to 3 days a week, depending on your level of team, throughout, I'd say, the middle of December. And then we start to ramp down a little bit in terms of going indoors or outdoor sessions, but mostly once a week during that winter period to regenerate and recover both mentally and physically. There is an exception for those teams that have college showcases or other competitions during that winter period, in which case they may do a little bit more training. But for the most part, they go once a week during the winter. And then we also can add on what's called some speed and agility training at D1. There is an additional fee for that per team. So a lot of our teams do decide to partake in that to keep themselves sharp and add that second night of training during the winter. And then obviously we go through the winter, and then I'd say the end of January, early February, we will start to transition into our spring. Or perhaps the middle of February into our spring, in which case we go back outside and resume our normal schedule of 2 to 3 sessions a week, start with state league, regional leagues, all sorts of different competitions and tournaments. And then we go through the beginning of June is State Cup. And then obviously for those who advance out of State Cup into regionals and nationals, that would be June, mid-June and July and all that. So that's pretty much our older girls season for those U16 and above. For our U15 teams, it's a little bit different in that we have about a split group. About half the group are 8th graders and half the group are going into high school. So with that, while our 9th graders are at high school, we don't want to leave our 8th graders behind. So what we do is we do something called trap training, a trapped group during the fall. So that's where we gather all of our 8th graders. And sometimes we have some U16 players that decide not to play in high school, and they're more than welcome to join our trap group as well. And basically what happens is they will train all throughout the fall as one large pool. So all of our teams, whether they're top teams, ECNL teams through our elite teams, they will all train together. We'll separate our training sometimes based on level, but for the most part, we're one big pool. And then what we do is we go and play friendlies and tournaments and against other trap teams, against other states, against boys. But we want to provide a training environment and a game environment for those players that are not in high school, so that they don't get left behind and they continue to develop along that pathway and aren't behind the 9th graders when they come back for a club. So that, in essence, is our season throughout the year for older girls. One area where we really strive for at TSC is to help your daughter achieve her goals and dreams. So one of the areas that we work on is a college recruitment program. You can find it on our website, but also it's a lot more than that. So one of the things that we have with TSC is we have a great coaching staff that has a wealth of knowledge and a lot of connections from the collegiate side. So myself being a former collegiate coach of 21 years, and we have plenty others, we know what that pathway is and where we want to push our players to get to help them achieve their goals if their goal is college soccer. So that is something that we do. We use a program called Sports Recruits that is provided for free for all of our older boys and girls. You can create an account and it helps you research colleges and connect with colleges, which is great. Also, our coaching staff has, again, a lot of connections, and we call coaches all the time. And we can help guide you through that process because it is a stressful process, the college recruiting process. So that is something that we aim to do, is help you achieve your goals and dreams of playing college soccer, if that's what you choose to do. The uniform process. So this year we are in a new uniform cycle for the next 2 years. So it is time to go order uniforms. So once you are invited to a team and officially accept, you'll be given a notification to be able to go and order your uniforms. You'll need your uniform number, which will be assigned by your coach. So make sure that you wait for that and get your uniform number, because that's something that you'll have to enter in the uniform process. We do all of our ordering through We Got Soccer for our Nike uniforms. I will say this, even though we do not start most of our teams until November or late October, do not wait to order your uniforms. Obviously, given COVID and supply chain issues, we've seen a huge delay in our uniforms arriving. So I would highly suggest that you order your uniforms right away. And I would also highly suggest that you go and try on your uniforms before you order, which can be done at tryouts or in the office, the TSC office, immediately before or after tryouts. The uniforms are cut a little bit differently this year, and we're getting word that the women's uniforms are a little bit sleeker than normal. So I would definitely suggest that you go and try them on, and take note that it's a 2-year cycle. So just because something is a little bit bigger now, if you're still growing, you'll want to leave a little bit of room for that growth for next year. So that is something I suggest. So we will be sending out more information with that. And again, getting your uniform number. We don't want duplicate numbers and having to go through that. So please, if you have any questions, you can go on our website under the info tab and click uniforms. And it is done through We Got Soccer. One of the areas that's highly critical in the success of our teams are our manager and treasurer roles. So one of the things that we want to do right after our teams are formed and our coach communicates out, what we really need is volunteers for our manager and treasurer roles. So if you have any interest in being a manager or a treasurer, please reach out to your coach right away, because we want to fill those roles as quickly as possible. There are a lot of things and a lot of moving parts with teams, and we need to get started right away. Also, throughout the summer, there's training opportunities for our managers and our treasurers. We do webinars and help. We don't just throw you the wolves and say, have at it. We provide lots of help with our full-time staff. So in order to do that effectively, we want to identify our managers and treasurers right away so that we can give you the help and the support that you need in order to help manage your team and support it financially. So please, if you're interested at all, please communicate with your coach right away so that we can identify those positions as soon as possible. We just want to thank you for participating in this year's tryout process here at Tennessee Soccer Club. We're very excited about this next upcoming season. We'd love for you to be a part of it. And please let us know any questions that you have and how we can help you navigate this process. We're here to help you, and welcome to TSC.